Once upon a time, there was a couple who dreamed of a life beyond the constraints of society. A life where days weren't measured by schedules and success wasn't defined by expectations. In 2023, they made a bold decision.
Shit, that's already 14 months ago.
Yep, we left in October.
Cheers to that.
To leave everything behind and set off into the unknown, not to escape, but to seek. A world full of wonder, adventure, and the freedom to write their own story.
So first of all, we had Greece,
Chapter 1.
where we celebrated Christmas and New Year's Eve
On the beach, yeah.
with new friends we met on the road. So we will never forget that.
No, Greece will always have, like a special place in our hearts, and
Definitely.
we also definitely needed a place and a time to relax and calm down from
Yeah.
everything before the epic journey started.
True.
Chapter 2.
Alright, Turkey. Turkey. It's difficult. There are so many beautiful memories of Turkey, but I think, for me personally, the climb up to Nemrudagi, the sunrise mission we had over there with Flo and her paws in the snow is something I will definitely always remember.
Nemrudagi was very special. But I also like to drive, for example, around
Mekegulu?
Mekegulu. Yeah. The
Mekegulu,
volcano.
yeah.
It was,
Yeah, it's a
Crazy.
quite crazy scenery.
yeah.
I remember Flo was super excited, and then we were like, okay, you just go out of the vehicle.
It had
And
been a
she
long
was
drive, so
running and running and running after the car in a beautiful epic scenery. Yeah, true.
what else?
Cappadocia, of course.
Yeah.
Shit, that was something that we saw from so many other people, and we were. I was really looking forward to that, and I remember I was I couldn't sleep because I was stressy. Are they gonna fly in the morning or not? Because you never know that up front.
If the balloons are gonna fly.
Yeah, and they
But-
did.
They did 4 days in a row, so we were quite lucky, I think.
Yeah, it's such a magical feeling. You really have to be there and feel the vibe to know what we're talking about. It's so magical.
Another thing I will never forget was the paragliding with your father.
Yeah, that was super
Yeah.
awesome. Was also the best location to do it.
Of course.
Yeah, we tried to trigger our parents to also push their own boundaries and venture off the main road sometimes. And we're doing it quite well, I think. With your mother taking her first flight.
At the age of 69. So
Yeah, so that's
Yeah.
great.
Chapter 3.
Yeah, Georgia was a beautiful start. I remember the hot springs and a lot of hot springs, a lot of waterfalls and a beautiful
But of course,
sunrise.
we got up early in the morning at Vani Hot Springs. We had a beautiful morning. Seeing the sunrise while you're in the hot springs was quite an amazing.
Yeah, but still, Georgia will also be the country where we had to sleep in a fucking car wash booth. You remember?
Yes, of course.
We had enough of the city of Tbilisi, and then we wanted to go to Armenia, and we decided to give our truck a little bath, so we're all nice and clean to head to the border.
And the
And
car
then-
wouldn't start. We couldn't turn the key, so
Yeah, we tried everything, but that was stupid.
We had no
So-
other option than to sleep in the car was good and then wait for the towing truck in the morning to tow us back to Tbilisi. And then we spent 3
Then
nights.
actually we spelled, yeah. It were beautiful nights though.
Beautiful nights, yeah.
yeah. But
We drank too much cha-cha and
way
had
too much
beers.
jaja.
Yeah. But still it was quite an experience.
Chapter 4.
Okay, but then eventually we made it to Armenia. Also some bad memories over there, but let's first start with the good ones. I think, definitely the Arad Reservoir was a magnificent camp-off
Yeah.
spot.
Really beautiful. The sunset there was amazing. It was really beautiful.
Alright, what else did you like about Armenia?
I really liked the drive through the valley, the Gnadavank Valley, I think.
Ah yeah,
The
that route
monastery.
that we weren't sure if it was open or not.
We weren't sure
yeah.
if it was open or not, and I think
Yeah.
we were one of the first to travel it after winter. But it was quite amazing, beautiful drive.
But the monastery wasn't that nice.
The
right?
monastery wasn't that special,
But
but
the
the
road
drive.
to the monastery was magnificent.
So yeah.
Yeah, for me, like Armenia is like a bit of double because Flo got super sick, and then she had to be in like the hospital for a week. Also, one time we got stuck when we wanted to drive up the volcano, and we came in
Yeah.
like a muddy scenery. I always thought when we got stuck in like sand that mud would be more nice, but then when we got stuck in mud, I was like, Charlotte, what the hell are you thinking? Sand is way better than mud.
Doesn't make you so dirty, you know.
Yeah.
Sand is more clean than mud.
Yeah. Flash forward to the Gobi, but no. That's for later.
Chapter 3. Part 2.
We went back into Georgia once
Yeah.
again.
And that was awesome. Yeah,
It was beautiful. We had a beautiful drive through Druso Valley. I think it is
we met up again with our friends,
Yeah,
our
it was
orbit. Yeah.
very amazing drive, beautiful valley.
I remember that was a Truso Valley, right? Where the Vario couldn't pass anymore.
Yeah.
So we decided to take Jaron and Astrid on the back of our truck. Wonderful memories.
I will not forget the good wine in Georgia.
True.
The cha-cha, of course, also, but especially the wine is very good.
All right.
Also, the brandy is very good.
I think you all already know that Ken likes to drink, right?
And the Georgians do too. So it was-
The Georgians do too, yeah.
Yeah.
Chapter 5.
All right.
Thank you.
So, where were we?
We were
Entering
in Georgia
Russia.
and entering Russia. Yes. So for me, Russia was quite an amazing experience. Dagestan is
Oh, lights. Continue.
Dagestan was crazy beautiful, and especially the Sulak Canyon, I think. I will never forget the Sulak Canyon.
Oh, do you remember like the car that drove like behind us, and they were like, "Hey, you want to meet up for a barbecue?"
The sketchy looking guys.
Yes.
Yeah. But we did. We did follow them. And we had barbecue. And it was amazing. It was an amazing experience. The hospitality in Dagestan is... People are super friendly, super welcoming, so it was great. Great experience. But we decided to still drive after the barbecue, and we got hopelessly lost in Dagestan.
Yes, absolutely. Like, I think that was the time we were like the most afraid of completely like losing the vehicle. There was no point of return. Let this just be a lesson, and I know you've heard it before, but don't ever trust Google Maps. Like, just don't do it. Not in those countries.
Yeah, not in Russia or... But also don't drive after dark.
True that.
Chapter 6.
Okay, and then it was time for Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan, yeah, that's... I remember a lot of open, vast landscapes and endless steppe.
The endless steps, yeah. Never... There's no end to it.
I do also remember like seeing camels on the road and realizing, fuck, we drove a really long way.
We're far from home now.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you see camels on the road, then you know, yeah, we...
Yeah. And yeah, I think Ustyurt National Park, like the Mangustar region, which is like close to Uzbekistan, that was definitely... I don't know, I have no words to describe what we saw there. It was otherworldly.
Yeah, it's from another world. It's from, I don't know, could be the moon, I don't know what it is, but it's not from this world, definitely. It's crazy beautiful, with huge amounts of dust.
Yes.
So, but
absolutely. And hot. It can get crazy hot over there, so don't venture there when it's already like summertime. I also do remember we wanted to get out of the valley and we couldn't get the car in reverse anymore, and then later on we couldn't get it in first or second gear, which is, you know, quite handy when driving those super steep mountains.
yeah, true. It turned out to be a very small issue, but eventually we went to Atirau and we finally had our chance to see the Caspian Sea.
Yes.
So that's a good thing.
Made that work.
Yeah.
I remember when we entered the country, we wanted to go to the Caspian Sea, and you know, we were like on the map, all right, here's the road, there's the Caspian Sea, it's not that far off, let's just venture there. But we got so lost in, I don't know, a town or something. We didn't know where we were. There was no signal. We lost 5 hours just trying to find the road back. So...
But we got lost a couple of times in Kazakhstan, so yeah.
Yeah, and eventually we were able to see the Caspian Sea.
Yeah, true. We had also some corrupt policemen.
Yeah, but we forgot about that.
We forgot about that.
Chapter 7.
Okay, and then afterwards from Kazakhstan, we went into Uzbekistan, which was not the plan, like, at all, right?
But I'm so happy we visited Uzbekistan. I really think I've saw the most beautiful cities ever in Uzbekistan. First
we had some challenges.
Yeah.
I think the roads, when you enter Uzbekistan from Kazakhstan, you go to like Karakal, Pakistan, and the roads there are just terrible. And you know, we're from Belgium. We had our part of bad roads.
We know a thing or two about bad roads, yeah.
But that was just awful.
Yeah, it's straight from hell. The road is straight from hell. It's more pothole than concrete.
Yeah.
It's
We
actually
also had a
just
lot of bad weather.
potholes with a bit of concrete in between.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we had very bad weather. It had been raining non-stop for 2 days. So, but it took us 2 days to cover 250 kilometers, 2 full days of driving. But after that, Kiva.
Was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. The sunset dinner and everything in between, yeah.
I will never forget the sunset dinner. Kiva is like a movie scene or something, so it's really, really, really amazing.
Also, like Samarkand, like the Registans and the cities over there was absolutely mind-blowing. I think
Samarkand is crazy beautiful. I think it's one of my favorite cities I've ever visited. Was
Really?
Samarkand.
Really?
Really,
Okay.
really. Yeah, it's so beautiful. It's really beautiful.
Yeah, I liked it a lot, but I was also like already longing for nature. And nature we got when we reached the border with Tajikistan.
Chapter 8.
Yeah, so Tajikistan, what can
You
we tell?
experienced nature in its purest form, I think. Rough, untamed.
What's like your most memorable memory of Tajikistan?
Tajikistan, of course, it's the Pamir Highway and the Wakhan Valley, for sure.
Yeah, I remember like driving. I wasn't driving, luckily, very luckily. And you just have this magnificent view of like all these old Tajik and Afghan cities, and it's truly mind-blowing.
Yeah. I think for me the Yamchun fortress was the most beautiful thing. You can overlook the Wakhan Valley and you look onto the Hindu Kush Mountains in Afghanistan, and this was a really amazing moment.
Absolutely.
For me. Yeah.
Yeah, but
on your birthday we did something very special
yeah,
too.
that was when we entered the country. Yeah, we immediately ventured from the border, and you know it was my birthday, so I wanted to be like at the 7th lake of the 7 lakes, and we had quite some trouble to get there, if I remember correctly. But eventually we made it.
It was a challenge, yeah.
So all okay. I do think from the whole journey up until now that Tajikistan is the country where I had the most fear at one point. Do you remember the drive from Aludin Lake back to the village?
Yeah, it had been pouring rain and the roads are very scary and also very dangerous.
We also have like no footage at all of those moments because we were just so scared, like so scared. But eventually we made it out.
We made it alive, so as you can see,
good.
we're still alive.
Very much alive.
Yeah.
Chapter 9.
Kyrgyzstan. A lot to tell from Kyrgyzstan, right?
You can tell as much about...
Oh! We even forgot our issue with the car on the Pamir.
Yes.
Because we wanted to do like the Bartang Valley, but it's a reason to
one day
return
go
one
back.
day.
So we had troubles with the car. Yes, we had a clocked DPF.
Yeah.
Because of the
Car
high
limit
altitude.
mode.
Yeah, because of the high altitude and bad quality diesel, I think. So the DPF was clocked, and we still had to cross the highest point to get into Kyrgyzstan at 4,655 meters. Yeah, with a car in limp mode.
A clock DPF.
Yeah, and a tank full of
Questionable
very questionable diesel.
Yeah. Very questionable diesel. But of course we made it, as we always do. And then we ventured into Kyrgyzstan.
Yes, and Kyrgyzstan is another amazing country. Actually, we didn't find, every country we've been driving through was amazing. But Kyrgyzstan was something very special. I think for me, because of the different landscapes. There's so much
also what I wanted
diversity in landscapes in Kyrgyzstan. It's incredible.
It's like one time you feel like you're in the American Rockies, and then you're up in the high mountain lake in Switzerland, and the other time you're like venturing to New Zealand or something. I don't know. And on such a small country.
Yeah, it's really amazing.
We also had some epic off-road driving with a vanlife truck that I also
That was
remember.
definitely,
Yeah, crazy, like the Tosor Pass and in the snow, and that's like to describe the diversity of the country. We met each other on a lake, beautiful, swimming, all nice. Then we went on some high mountain passes, a couple of days, very brown and then green, like Scotland vibe or something.
It was very cold. We were almost stuck in a snowstorm at 4,000 meters, and then
In the morning we woke up, snowstorm, and in the evening we drove back to the lake, swimming, hot sun, like everything, like
23,
crazy.
25 degrees. So yeah, it's really, really amazing. Really amazing country.
Absolutely.
I will never forget these 3 days.
No, me neither.
With Bobby and Marie. So.
Chapter 6, Part 2.
And then we had the longest border crossing ever, which was like normally the shortest one ever, but it was the longest for us.
To get back into Kazakhstan.
They lost electricity, I think. There was no electricity.
There was no electricity at the border, so I think on the Kazakh side they were without electricity, so nobody could pass.
And then we met up with Louis and the Rover in complete darkness, trying to find each other on a lake or something. I remember Ken was like, yeah, but we can meet up and we can drive somewhere, but not too much off-roading because the car really needs a service. Like we need to do some maintenance on the car.
Yeah, we need to change all the oils and filters and whatever, and it was really time to do it. So, but still, we decided to go on a crazy adventure once again.
Yeah, they spoke to some locals before. And they were like, yeah, if you go up to that mountain pass, you can venture in some beautiful off-road scenery. And beautiful it was, but fucking hell, it was also very challenging.
Yeah, it was very challenging. I think we lost the car 2 times, almost. Almost
yeah.
2 times.
So, yeah. Spoiler alert, we didn't lose it.
We didn't lose it. But
getting quite close. All videos yet to come.
Chapter 5, Part 2.
And then afterwards we headed to Mongolia, so we had to cross Russia once again. I remember we wanted to visit it for like a longer period of time, but you need to register, I think, after 4 or 5 days.
Yeah, you can stay a maximum of 6 days in the country, I think, and then you have to register.
So we ventured quite fast through that region, but I also remember so in some parts of like Tajikistan and Kyrgyzstan, like depending on where you go, you cannot find that much food.
Or not.
Like high in the mountains, and I remember we went to I don't know, was it a macro? Or like something in Russia. But we saw so many Western products.
Metro.
Like
I think it was
don't know.
Metro. Yeah.
And we were like, oh my god, we need to buy this and this and this. And then eventually we weren't able to pay for it because you need to pay everything in Russian rubles because the
cash, and you cannot withdraw any money.
No. So eventually we were at cash out and you had to return your bottle of whiskey.
Yeah, I couldn't buy the bottle of whiskey because we didn't have enough money. So.
No, yeah, indeed.
Poor me. I have to drink water for the coming days.
Then what's this?
Just 1 beer, maybe 2.
So it was either the bottle of whiskey or either enough money for the fuel to drive back.
Yeah. So we decided to go for the whiskey. No. No. We went for the fuel. So.
Yes.
Chapter 10.
And then it was time for Mongolia. Awesome country.
Mongolia is crazy. It's a crazy country. I've never felt so alone, and the silence. There's no noise. You're in the middle of the desert or and there's no sounds, there's no birds, there's nothing, there's just silence.
Yeah.
This was the
Never
solitude,
experienced it.
and silence. I think this is
For me, in the beginning, I could find quite annoying that we were like driving somewhere and we tried to figure out, you know, how to drive and, you know, like which the best navigation app you can use. But then you're like in the middle of nowhere and your navigation app tells you that there is like one road. So you follow the one road, but then you see right in front of you 4 different roads and you're like, okay, honey, which road should we take? And then you just don't know and you just try to go for it and you...
yeah, it's crazy to know that now we're gonna cross nothingness for like 150 kilometers before we reach the next town. Never had this before.
No.
And I will never forget getting stuck in the Gobi Desert, but not in the sand, in the mud.
I remember when we were at the border of Mongolia, people were like telling me, don't worry, it never rains in the Gobi Desert. And then we entered the Gobi and it was non-stop pouring rain.
Pouring rain,
continuous
2-3
rain.
days. And then we eventually thought, well, we'll cross it anyway. And we got stuck so bad.
It
so
was
bad.
insane.
With
And
a-
there was like 2 other cars. No, we were stuck. Another car was stuck. You look very sexy.
Thank you.
And then we saw like in the middle of all of the digging and whatsoever, we saw like 2 people standing on top of
a sand dune.
Yeah. And we were like, are they laughing at us? You know, are they like laughing with us that we are getting stuck? And they were sitting on the sand dune and like waiting. And then they apparently, I think, came to the conclusion that we were also like pretty stuck. So they came off of the sand dune and they were completely covered in mud. But like completely covered in mud.
So they had the same problem on the other side of the sand dune. So they were also stuck very badly. So eventually it took us a couple of hours of digging and
Google Translate does not work.
no, it doesn't.
Absolutely not.
No. Yeah.
We tried to have like a communication with them in any way, but it was quite impossible.
We didn't
right?
have reception at first, and then sometimes, but eventually you cannot, the translation of Google Translate is very bad for Mongolian language.
It's impossible.
Yeah. And also another thing I will not forget about Mongolia is the invitation we had from Paku and his wife.
Yeah.
So we had a very lovely dinner.
Yeah, it
and
was so
afternoon.
nice to have like a look inside of the way they live, because temperatures in Ulaanbaatar can get like plus 40 degrees Celsius in summertime, but also minus 40 degrees Celsius in wintertime.
They're really lovely people.
Absolutely.
Mongolians, I think they're the strongest people on earth to survive these conditions.
Probably, yeah, definitely.
It's crazy.
Chapter 11.
After Mongolia, it was time
China!
to get into China. Yeah. What do you
China.
remember about China? What is your...
China was like, for us, like kind of an obstacle to overcome to get into Southeast Asia. And I think looking back, there's like a transition not from obstacle but to like beautiful experience. And to like, for me, China was like really like the people, the food, definitely the food was also amazing.
I really love China.
Yeah, we're actually already looking forward to venture back into China, which will happen on the return journey. Yeah, I think for me, like standing in front of the Chinese wall with like the vehicle and having like this...
The Great Wall of China, yeah.
There was like this one moment we sat next to each other in the car and we're like, man, we drove next to the Great Wall of China. We drove from Belgium to there.
Yeah.
That is just insane.
For me, it was like in Beijing to visit Forbidden City. It was quite a special thing, but also to stand on Tiananmen Square, I think, was also really very special for me.
Yeah.
Very beautiful country. The food is amazing, really. I can't get enough of the Chinese food, especially.
And it's also very cheap. You know,
very
it's very cheap.
But especially in the south, you have like the really spicy food. You know,
Yeah.
the Sichuan spicy food is. I really like spicy food. Yeah.
Chapter 12.
What is like your most profound memory of Laos?
I think definitely the light festival in Luang Prabang.
Yeah, okay, true.
It's such a great atmosphere. All the temples are beautifully lit. There's candles everywhere. And then the parade, of course, you know, people or all the villages make big boats and then they put them on the Mekong River.
Yeah, and also the definition behind the festival is very beautiful. It's like you make a boat and that are your sorrows, I think.
Sorrows and negative
negative
energy.
feelings, and then you put it on the water and,
push
let
it
it
away
go.
and let it go. Yeah, Luang Prabang and especially the light festival in Luang Prabang.
And that's also something that was like, in the beginning, started out negative, but turned into something positive. Normally we would have never stayed such a long time in Luang Prabang because
true.
but we both got very sick, so we decided to stay longer and to just, rest out. And that's also the reason why we were able to see the light festival. So, every bad point has its
Every cloud has its silver lining.
Yes, you can put it so beautiful.
No, yeah, but not only this, I think Laos is a very beautiful country. I think also we crossed a piece of jungle to get through the border with Thailand, which was also pretty rough, actually.
Yeah.
It was a pretty rough drive, but beautiful drive.
Chapter 13.
And then we made it to Thailand.
To Thailand, yeah, finally.
I remember the border crossing was pretty scary because it's not so easy anymore to get into Thailand, but we made it.
Thailand, for me, I think it was very magical to meet with U.
Yeah. Lovely family.
Yeah, we had the privilege to meet U and his family in the city of Nang, which was an amazing night, and also to see the mountains and the north of Thailand.
Yeah, for me, Thailand will also be like, seeing my parents again after a year of not seeing them and having so much beautiful memories created together, discovering this magnificent country of Thailand.
But also this beach, I will never forget this beach. This beach is crazy beautiful.
It's already like so dark, you guys can probably not even see us anymore. I'm gonna put this closer. Let me see. Yeah, it's kind of spooky, but it still works, right? Yeah, it still works.
So here on the island of Koh Chang, we
Chang.
found this amazing beach. You cannot get here with a normal car. I think you need 4x4, and there's nothing here. There's no bars, nothing. It's an amazing place.
So yeah, I think the past year has been nothing short but absolutely fucking amazing.
And spectacular.
Yeah, and I think the coming year will be, I don't know.
Even more spectacular.
Probably.
We don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, thank you so much guys for following along. There's still so much content we need to make a video of, and also still create.
Yeah.
But we're a bit behind. But that's awesome because so much more videos are yet to come, and thank you so much for watching, liking, subscribing, and we love to hear your thoughts about everything, and we especially love to take you along on a journey with us and to venture off the main roads together.
Woohoo!
Let's see more of that in 2025. Fireworks! Woo!
That evening they reflected on the journey that had brought them there, the challenges, the surprises, and the unforgettable moments along the way. Thailand wasn't just a destination. It was a reminder of why they set out on this journey in the first place. to embrace the unknown, connect with people, and discover the beauty of the world, one breathtaking place at a time. As the stars filled the sky, they knew the world had more to show. But for now, they were grateful for the journey, for each other, and for whatever the road might bring next. The end, at least for now.